Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Tuesday, May 10, 2022. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Government begins consultations on proposed electoral reforms. Government will respond to Iachr on ISSENERU land dispute, says PM. NORTON agrees to hand over SOPs during heated exchange with JAGDEO. COVID-19 cases on the rise again, says Health Minister, and over 600 children in conflict with the law over the past 3 years. Now for the news in detail. On behalf of the Guyana government, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal on Monday held the first session of public consultations on the draft electoral laws. Amar Prasad reports.
This engagement dealt specifically with the draft amendments to the Representation of the People's Act, which were publicly circulated by Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, inviting a review, written recommendations and views on the proposed law. Many stakeholder organizations as well as individuals made recommendations and expressed their opinions in writing on the proposals. They were all invited to Monday's engagement. A statement from the AG Chambers noted that representatives of the Private Sector Commission and Electoral Reform Group attended. Attorney General Anil Nandlal used the opportunity to explain the nature and purport of the legislative proposals and also made it clear that it is outside the scope of this exercise to address issues which will require amendments to the Constitution. He advised that those recommendations be deferred and be presented when the constitutional reform process begins. An overhaul of the country's electoral laws can see the chief elections officer at the Guyana Elections Commission facing as much as life imprisonment for committing fraud, while others can similarly face hefty fines and jail time for any related offense. The draft updated electoral laws also outline a clear process for the request of a recount, including empowering the chairman of GCOM to grant that request. Under the proposed laws, the CEO must immediately post the district tabulation forms on the Commission's website as soon as he receives them from the returning officers. Other persons involved in the electoral process can face fines as high as $10 million and can equally be jailed for life if they breach any provisions as outlined in the proposed updated act. For the evening news, Amar Prasad.
Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips has assured that the government fully intends to respond to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, which has recommended reparations for the indigenous village of ISSENERU. Here are the details from Gerald Bryan.
Prime Minister Mark Phillips gave this assurance while making a presentation on day one of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association seminar. In his presentation, the Prime Minister made it clear that the government intends to respond to Iachr by June 20th.
I wish to assure you that with regards to the ISSENERU issue, we, unlike what was represented, have until June the 20th to respond to the recommendations of the Inter-American Commission for Human Rights, a response that we have committed to ensure being handed in before the deadline of June the 20th.
The Prime Minister also used the opportunity to reiterate the government's commitment to international law.
I take this opportunity to assure all present, in person and virtually, that the government of Guyana, the parliamentarians that represent the government of Guyana, is committed to upholding the rule of law in Guyana and upholding international law.
The Prime Minister was responding to opposition MP Vincent Henry, who raised the issue in a presentation preceding him. Back in April, Iachr, which is an organ of the OAS, had ruled for the government to provide reparations to the Region 7 village of ISSENERU. ISSENERU had approached Iachr, arguing against the granting of mining permits on ancestral lands without prior consultation or consent. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
A night at a European Day cocktail reception saw Vice President JAGDEO and opposition leader Aubrey Norton committing to have a public debate once Norton agrees to hand over the Partnership for National Unity Alliance for Change statements of poll from the 2020 elections. Shane Marks was there and filed this report.
A night at a European Day cocktail reception saw Vice President Dr. JAGDEO and opposition leader Agri Norton committing to have a public debate after JAGDEO seemingly called out the opposition party during his brief speech at the event for not showing to the public their statement of polls SOPs for the 2020 elections.
I recall one day them coming to check our statements of poll that we had uploaded 3 or 4 days after the elections to check whether we had tampered with the statements of poll. And until today, Ambassador, those statements of poll that would have justified Mingo's fraudulent figures never surfaced. In fact, the real statements of poll were presented to the Chief Justice just recently by the GCOM Secretariat.
Moments after Vice President JAGDEO's speech, a small crowd gathered where Norton and JAGDEO were committed to a public debate. Norton challenged JAGDEO to a debate which JAGDEO agreed to have on the term that Norton provides its party's 2020 statements of poll. Norton agreed to hand over the statements of poll at the end of the debate. Last year, as part of the probe into former Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield, statements of poll for the country's largest voting district, Region 4, Damara Mahaika, were handed over to the Criminal Investigations Department of the Guyana Police Force. This came after Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George ordered the release of the documents to the police and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to facilitate the police investigations. Following the conclusion of the March 2020 general and regional elections, which were embroiled in controversy, Lowenfield was among several high-ranking GCOM officials who were investigated and placed before the courts. As of now, no date has been set for the debate between JAGDEO and Norton. Shane Marks, The Evening News.
While contractors being overpaid is a common phenomenon in Guyana, letting them continue to bid for contracts while still owing money is less common. This, however, has been happening at the Region 8 Regional Democratic Council. Gerald Bryan has the details.
Officials from the Region 8 Regional Democratic Council made their appearance before the Public Accounts Committee on Monday. During their appearance, questions were raised over findings in the 2017 Auditor General report. The Auditor General had found cases of millions of dollars in overpayments being made to contractors. In one case, a mobilization advance of $2.2 million was still to be recovered. PAC member Ganesh Mahipa read out these infractions.
And then when you look at the 2017 report, you see like the regional administration was still to recover overpayments totaling $17.621 million made on the following contracts during the years 2011, 12, 15, and 16. What are you doing, sir, as the RU? I hear you saying that this is a different dispensation, and I know we are going to verify that when we come to the 2020 and 2021 reports. But what system do you have in place to recover these outstanding amounts?
Despite them owing money, however, these contractors were still allowed to bid for contracts. According to REO Peter Ramatar, individual contractors have been clearing their debts. However, they have no formal contractual obligation to do so.
The only system at hand is that we engage the contractors who are available by writing to them or by having discussion with them and encouraging them to liquidate, which is happening. There are some who are paying.
Those contractors, if they were awarded contracts, so some of the proceeds from the earnings of those contracts be put towards repayment of these overpayments.
Yes, sir. We didn't put that into the contract document.
You have what?
We didn't put that into the contract document, but we have that verbal agreement that payment would be made.
Ramatar committed to seeking advice from the Finance Secretary on how to make these repayments contractually binding. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Coming up, EU ambassador commits to supporting One Guyana, and 300 foreigners locals registered for a massive Agri forum and expo in Guyana. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
So rich, so creamy. Devon creams on the inside makes your day bright on the outside. Devon creams, many ways to smile, smile. You say, I say, we say. Have your fill today. So rich, so creamy. Have your fill today. Devon creams, have your fill today.
Plans are moving forward for the establishment of the landmark GASTE Energy project. Gas will be piped from the Stabroek block operations to shore. The project is expected to cut electricity rates by more than half and deliver significant benefits to Guyanese.
Enjoy the thrill of internet shopping with Airpost. Simply log on to www.airpost.com. Sign up, shop online, and we'll deliver right into your hands. Airpost has partnered with all the major online stores to give you an unlimited range of shopping options straight from our website. And our 24-hour online service will walk you through any challenges. It's simple, it's fast, and it's fun. You don't need a credit card to shop. Visit any of our offices or call our attendants. We'll help you through the process. Airpost. You shop, we ship, we deliver.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality, or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rheinveld.
Get in the game, get in the game, get in the game with Buster, play. Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, Xbox X Series. Just purchase any bottle of Buster, Turbo, Altitude, Classic, or Viva and look for the code on the bottle. Then visit Buster Instagram and Facebook at Buster Guyana for more details.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Guyanese have been advised to pick up the COVID-19 guidelines that they have been flouting in recent time in the wake of statistics which show positives on the rise again. Rupasina tells us more.
Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony informed in Tuesday's briefing that active COVID cases have reached 184 after 42 new infections surfaced in one day. Dispersion of new cases indicate that 3 were from Region 3, 25 from Region 4, 13 from Region 6, and 1 from Region 7. The minister pointed out that within recent weeks, persons have been discarding the public health measures recommended to keep them safe. If this continues, he noted that infections can rise.
You can see this as an increase from the cases that we have been seeing over the last couple of weeks. This is a significant increase, and we have to be mindful of that. So one of the things that I want to urge people is to start taking precautions. I think over the last couple of weeks, people have discarded a lot of the public health measures that we have been telling them to use, especially wearing masks when you're in an indoor environment and around people. So a lot of persons have been ignoring that particular measure, and if we continue to do so, there are chances that you can get infected.
The minister added that booster vaccines are relatively low, with an uptake of 63,173. He also gave a breakdown of current immunization numbers.
For persons 18 years and older, we have 440,814 doses that were administered. That's approximately 85.9% of our adult population. For second dose, we are now at 340,221 doses that have been administered. So that's 66.3% of our adult population. In terms of the children between 12 to 17, we have administered 34,592 first doses. That's 47.4% of that age cohort. And for second dose, we're now at 25,309, or 34.7% of that age cohort.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
European Union Ambassador to Guyana Fernando Pons Canto has committed support to build One Guyana. He verbalized his commitment on Monday at a cocktail reception held in celebration of European Day and the EU's 50th anniversary of its presence in Guyana. More in the Shane Marks report.
On Monday, the European Union EU celebrated 70-plus years of peace and unity in Europe, alongside the 50-year celebration of the EU's presence in Guyana. In turn, a cocktail reception was hosted at the Black Magenta Georgetown Club, to which EU Ambassador to Guyana Fernando Pons Canto said that he is committed to building President Dr. Afan Ali's One Guyana.
Europe will always be there at your side. And there will also be many opportunities. There are already many opportunities, and there is a space for everyone. I look forward to see, and the sooner the better, the fruits of Guyana's effort in the form of inclusive and sustainable development, prosperity for all the Guyanese, and I am sure that very soon we will see that the new wealth, riches, cascades down to all the citizens of beautiful Guyana. And Europe will be there to help in difficult times, as we have done, to partner for mutual benefit in good times. We want to promote the EU interest. It's part of our mission, but we want to do it in a way that is also beneficial for Guyana. This is the European Union approach, and this is what we are going to do. We want to help wherever you want to go ahead, good governance, predictability for investment, cooperation, promoting our joint interest in the benefits of the citizens. We want more Europe in Guyana. We also want more Guyana.
Ambassador Canto said that Guyana can continue to count on the EU for the many different roles they play in helping the country.
Happy to say that since last year, the European Union delegation has the full diplomatic president status, thanks to the government of Guyana, for which I am very grateful. We have achieved a lot together over the years, thanks to those who preceded us and thanks to all those who are working hard today. We have covered development cooperation. We have helped Guyana with the seawall, which protects the lives of Guyanese citizens. We have helped also with many other cooperation efforts. We have contributed also to your effort of civil society to improve the things, to improve the situations, and you can count on us to continue.
Vice President Dr. JAGDEO attended the reception on behalf of President Ali and Prime Minister Mark Phillips. He thanked the EU for the role it played to ensure freedom and democracy in Guyana and said the ambassador was personally involved in ensuring democracy was not disturbed during the 2020 elections.
Many people would not know, but the European Union team stayed on after the debacle at GCOM, after the blatant attempt to steal the elections. They stayed on in a very industrious way. They were there every single day trying to ferret out information about what was really happening.
Europe Day commemorates the signing of the Schuman Declaration on May 9, 1950 to ensure a post-war Europe that is considered the beginning of what is now the European Union. Shane Marks, The Evening News.
Over the past 3 years, over 600 children have been in conflict with the law. This trend has prompted the launching of the country's first juvenile drug treatment court, a facility aimed at rehabilitating young drug abusers for their reintegration into society. Luana McAllister tells us more.
On Tuesday, the Judiciary of Guyana launched 12 courts to deal specifically with juveniles who are substance abusers. These courts are located in Georgetown, New Amsterdam, Wim, Fort Wellington, Linden, Lenora, Wales, Vredenoop, Suddy, Charity, Spardam, and Vigilance. The mission of the initiative is to reduce crime and substance use among adolescents through therapeutic interventions and judicial supervision. These will also include youths who are charged with minor or non-violent criminal offenses and may have serious drug abuse disorders. The courts will offer treatment for this kind of disorder. However, in order to benefit from the assistance, the juvenile must plead guilty to the offense committed. Chancellor of the Judiciary, Yonet Cummins-Edwards, said since 2019, the number of young people that find themselves in drug use and committing offenses of the law stands in the 600s. This is with the exception of 2022.
If we look at the summary offenses, we have 138 males and 59 females engaged in matters of a summary nature. On the indictable side, we have 83 males and 63 females, a total of 343 cases. In 2020, we have 26 males and 8 females for indictable offenses, and for the summary matters, 82 males and 50 females, a total of 166 cases. 2021, 21 males, 1 female, thank God, but that's still one too much, or involved in indictable matters. Summary matters, 51 males and 43 females, a total of 116 cases. We have not bothered to look at the statistics for this year. This in itself would provide a guide to where we are and what we need to do as a court, as a community, to deal with this issue.
She said the most important factor garnered from the statistics is that the numbers seems to be dropping. From 2020 to 2021, the cases dropped by 50. As such, Cummins-Edwards said she hopes that the judicial system continues to see a reduction in the number of cases now with the implementation of the drug treatment courts.
It would be those summary matters which I just identified, for which attention would be focused and for which our juvenile drug treatment court would pay particular regard. We will operate within an all-encompassing framework of the court, engage with Child Protective and Welfare Services, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, Legal Aid, Attorneys at Law, CANU, our Juvenile Justice Board, the police, the DPP, Salvation Army, Phoenix, all the NGOs providing social services, ChildLink, Blossom Inc., all of those agencies who are willing to deal with our children, to give help, provide a helping hand to our young people. We are willing to engage with you. It's an all-hands-on-deck approach that is required for the success of this juvenile justice court.
Luana McAllister for the Evening News.
Guyana has taken a lead in driving the region's agri-food agenda, and the flagship Agri Investment Forum and Expo, slated for next week, has already garnered attention from foreign investors. Find out more in this Rupasina report.
The inaugural Agri Investment Forum and Expo is set for May 19th to the 21st, 2022 at the Arthur Chung Conference Center, Liliendal. During an inspection of the expo site on Monday, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa divulged that over 300 investors and participants have already registered. Most of them are overseas based, but locals are now getting on board.
We are moving very, very effectively. Almost all the booths are in place. To date, we have close to about 300 organizations and investors who have already registered, and most are from overseas. Now we are seeing a number of Guyanese being registered, so I'm hoping by the end of registration, just a few days before the event, we will have a lot of investors and persons who will be participating. We also have a number of exhibitors who have already purchased their booth. Now they are putting the finishing touches.
Some 70 exhibitors have already secured their booth, but the aim is to have 100. Additionally, approximately 70 small Guyanese agro-processors will be part of the event. Apart from local input, investors will be arriving from as far as Israel, Ghana, Cameroon, Canada, and the United States, among others. 7 heads of state from CARICOM have already indicated their participation, along with several regional ministers of agriculture.
I think that this will be the first of its kind in this part of the region, and which will be a continuous process where we can always have investment, because you know for a fact that our president is driving the agri-food agenda for CARICOM, and CARICOM is looking to reduce the food import bill by 25% in 2025. And this decision was taken at the last Heads of Government meeting in Belize, the 33rd intersessional meeting, where CARICOM agreed that we should hold an investment forum in Guyana, where we can bring investors across the Caribbean, across the world, so that we can match capital with asset, match capital with partners in CARICOM, in the Caribbean countries, so that we can reduce the food import bill that is very, very high right now. As a matter of fact, it's approximately $6 to $8 billion annually we have been importing.
Partnering with the Agriculture Ministry to execute the expo are the Private Sector Commission and other private sector bodies. Chairman of the PSC, Paul Chang, reminded that while oil is a depletable resource, agriculture is sustainable.
This is the right area for us to focus on as a country and invest in and push. So I mean, we're encouraging everyone to participate fully in this activity. We know that there are only a few booths more remaining, so businesses that want to come and participate and get on the train need to do so immediately.
Registration is open and there are a few booths remaining for interested stakeholders. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Residents of Region 5 who had their roofs torn off by the recent storm on Monday received zinc sheets from the Civil Defense Commission. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports that more assistance has been promised by the organization.
During the storm, it started on Friday night and ripped through sections of Plantation Hope and Experiment. Utility poles were displaced and electric wires had fallen to the ground, which was covered with several inches of water from the heavy and continuous rainfall which accompanied the storm. Zinc sheets from 18 homes were ripped off and 2 buildings were blown to the ground. Some had nowhere to sleep.
Saturday night we had to go back by our neighbor because the place was still wet and we didn't have any, as you can see that the mattress, everything was soaking from the last time, and the place was in a miserable situation from the last time still. We put back everything to dry, and some was dry, some was still wet, and the downstairs we tried to get out the water and stuff like that. But last night we actually slept, but to go back in the house and sleep last night was really terrifying.
Well, we now make out so good. My husband stay apart in the house with the shade left on, and I stay by a friend. And the most important thing I need now is just let the roof go on, and I come back in my house and start back life. Because I got a 5-year to go to school. Yeah, everything's soaked, everything destroyed. I eat all the tablet and stuff off the roof, fly and the water start. I couldn't only scramble him because he started to throw up and he started to tremble, and I had to hold him and I didn't get to save anything.
Regional Chairman Vic Chand Ramphal congratulated government on its quick response, noting that after the CDC did an assessment, 20 families were in need of building material.
What we're hoping is that we can have
after today, we can have more engagement with the community and to see that, we can get back to as close to normalcy as possible. But today we will deal specifically with the zinc sheets for those persons who haven't done any repairs, to ensure that we can get that process moving forward. For those who have already completed the repairs, at least you will get your materials, and you can then decide how you would move forward with that.
Well, I think it's a good thing that them helping me, because I lose almost the whole roof and the ceiling and everything. Because you was there, you actually see some of the things that happened there. So I think it's a good thing that
that is very good. They are very, very fast on whatsoever happened. Reaction for the people, and that is very good.
Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Wednesday, May 11th, 2022 at 0 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Rabbit River Bridge is expected to be closed on Wednesday, May 11th, 2022 at 12 hours 35 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Let's now take a look at the local stock exchange market compliments of GASI. Hetmeyer sends email to CWI on unavailability but expects to return to IPL, and Gujarat Titans trashes Lucknow Super Giants. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
At John Lewis Styles, we carry only first quality, men's and women's clothing, footwear, and accessories. As authorized dealers, our items come directly from the manufacturing brands, and are available in all sizes and colors. What we sell was never on display in another store. It's time you know the truth about buy. Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Try our virtual sports and win big with so much matches to choose from. Betting starts at $100. Play for your Log on to www.superbet.gy or visit any one of our agents to place your bets. Terms and conditions apply. Have fun and play responsibly. Must be 18 and over to
It happens. Your septic tank is full. All the waste from your toilet goes into your septic tank through the sewage line. When your tank is full, the two most common indicators are an overflowing tank and an overflowing toilet. It is recommended that Sevon's Waste Management empty your septic tank every 2 to 3 years to avoid any embarrassment. And before you can say, shh, it's gone. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455 or 218-1156.
Did you know that when you leave your property unoccupied and unmanaged, it deteriorates much faster than you can imagine? Then before you know it, much of your hard-earned investment is wasted. At Hand in Hand Trust Corporation, property management is our business. Whether you travel for long periods, live overseas, or have several properties that require managing, let us at Hand in Hand Trust Corporation take care of this for you. Your property is safe with us. Hand in Hand Trust Corporation Incorporated, a member of the
Ultra Lubricants, the leading lubricants for tropical conditions, has been serving you for over 40 years, extending the life cycle of your vehicle's engine by protecting it from wear and corrosion, removes impurities, and reducing frequent vehicle oil changes. Ultra Lubricants is for every market, from two-wheel light vehicle to trucks, construction, agriculture equipment, mining activities, and boating. Ultra Lubricants, world-class lubricants for tropical conditions. Distributed by Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc. and available nationwide.